So, let's do it. Hey, it felt necessary. Folks, let's be honest. Everybody here tonight knows why we're here, knows what's going on. The proverbial shit has hit the fan in a new way, and everybody's feeling stressed. And tonight, because we all know what's in the news, we've decided that it's a great opportunity for us to shift gears a little bit. And we'd like to hear from some of you folks in the chat tonight. So throughout tonight, we'll remind you, go ahead and you can direct a message, either Poonsauce or myself, and we will coordinate this to get you guys on. We want to hear your thoughts. I know leading into the show tonight, like any other show, we spend a lot of time prior to everything hanging out with all of our family and the Stooge crew over there on the Discord. And we spent a lot of time discussing all of this and really thinking, thinking through all of these different scenarios and, even just venting and voicing our frustration and our concerns. I can promise you that throughout this whole episode tonight, Poonsauce and I are going to vent a lot of that. But tonight, we really want to make this about our community. Because at the end of the day, that might be what we can all agree is the best part of what we've gained from vaping once we look at the non-tangible things. So, guys, this is as much a news show as it is a support room and a support group. And, yeah. You know what? And that's the thing. You guys want to, we might cry. We can do all of that. Like this is the thing. Everybody here that's involved in this is so damn emotionally invested in vaping. I know it frustrates the hell out of me because you feel like you're going down the wrong path when you see these things happening and you see all of this, overreach from government and everything like that. It just, you feel like the world is moving in the wrong direction. Like we're not moving and progressing in a way that is good for humanity. And that frustrates the hell out of me. I see big business owning our government, and in turn, big business owning us, the people. And I'm a goddamn anarchist, man. I don't like authority. I especially don't like it when they start reaching into my space, into my world, into my home, into my life, and start literally meddling with things that do not affect the rest of the world. Everybody has beat the whole vitamin E thing to death. We all know what's going on there. And we all know it's a disconnect with our elected officials. So what do we do? How do we educate these people and help them understand? And that's where it gets crazy, right? Because there's a handful of us who have, and there's a handful of us who have done a lot. I look at, you know, some of the people I know from like the VTA, and those guys who have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and have shown up to countless meetings and things like that. I think about, you know, those of us who have gone to, you know, hearings and spoken out against it in cities and towns across the country. And this makes it feel like we got duped for a minute, you know, like they just kind of yepped us to death. Alex Azar of the Health and Human Services Department. And yeah, they're saying they can't hear you. I can hear Poonsauce, which tells me we have a problem. That means something in the software. Well, what's in the news, ladies and gentlemen? What's in the news? Where the points are made up and the facts don't matter. Mm-hmm. Check your audio capture, my dude. This guy. Mama Janklin even in here saying she can't hear your sweet voice. You need you can't let Mama Janklin down. When Mama Janklin is let down, we gotta get Frames Janklin to come slap you around. Good gravy. So, just for the fun of it, while Poonsauce continues to play with his settings and figure out why the audio capture is not working, I'm just going to go ahead and give you a little buffet action, I suppose, and make it still somewhat vape related. You guys remember this guy, right? That's the Keen and the Ardent. I haven't put these two together in a while, and I'm kind of excited because I forgot how good it looks. Keen and the Ardent is a pretty stunning combo. All things considered, I would rush over to lucidrda.com right now and go get yourself this combination because it's a winning pair. That's lucidrda.com for all of your vaping needs. You're welcome, Stan. I'll be waiting for the check. Inside that, Boule, Bolu, you guys know what that is. Banana Land. I'm still killing that bottle. Trying to take it easy because I spend a lot of time with this guy now. I've been really living the mouth to lung life. A little Amit MTL and the little Tesla Wii. And yeah, 15 watts, man. I never thought vaping at 15 watts would be so good. Same old 9 milligram skipper milk pie in that. Might have to go and buy a lot of this because, as people know, it's my favorite e-liquid of all time. So, you know, if I can get myself a bunch of that 9 milligram, at least I can MTL my face off for a long while. And at this point, that's all I'm vaping. So I'm really hoping that you figured out this this issue because it's one-sided conversation isn't really working out for me.
How about now? Hold on, people. Let's see if this worked. Hello? Anybody hear me now?
We're watching the chat.
Come on, chat.
Don't let me
down here.
Come on.
I see the bars moving. I see bars moving, so that's why I'm thinking it worked. Please tell me it worked.
Are we hearing a Poonsauce now? Yes! We're hearing it.
Thank God.
People are hearing. They're hearing the stuff and the things.
Yeah, okay, it's working now. Okay, I don't know what happened. It was just... Okay, awesome. Okay, don't touch anything. Got it. Thanks, James.
Yep, don't look at it. Don't breathe on it.
See, I did this for Mama Janklin. This is for Mama Janklin, so thank you for being here. James, I didn't do this for you. I did this for Mama Janklin. Sorry about that, guys.
So, now that you've had that worked out, though, I mean,
yeah.
What are you keeping on? Might as well do that.
5 more minutes. God damn it, Stan. Shut up. Okay. I totally lost where we were. Holy crap.
Well, that's why I was like, you know what? Go ahead. Fuck it. What are you vaping on? And
yeah,
we'll
might as well do that. First of all, I got my Dreamer Ardent. You know, the staple. Everywhere.
LE action.
LE action. And inside of there, I'm getting a little low, but I'm still vaping on it. Got some straight up e-liquid candy. And then... Yeah, shut up, James. And then... Next, I got my Lazy Vapors DNA 75C with the Flavor 24. And inside of there, I got some vanilla bourbon custard. And then, finally, the coup de grace. I guess this is like... Well, let's say this is the coup de grace. This is just my new that I've been loving. That... Crap, I forgot his name already. Jeremy Lane. He's in the high-end forum. I think he's a moderator in the high-end, the VF. But I made a purchase last week, and it came in last weekend. But I got in my hammer, my other hammer. This is more like a battering ram than anything. Say hello to the hammer by Immortal Mods. I don't know if this was when they were still Armageddon manufacturing. But in top of there, I got the Elite V2. And with some stab sleeves and fanciness. And then inside of there, I got some straight up Apple. Which is becoming one of my new favorite Apple vapes, to be honest. Because... Like I said this on Saturday before things went to shit on that stream. Overdrip, if you're watching, you need some of this. This will overtake the Nubulus Alto Apple for you instantly. I can guarantee it. And that's pretty much all I got.
So back to the topic.
So before you guys didn't know what the hell I was saying, I just wanted to give you guys a little of a recap of why we're here today. If you've been living under a rock and don't know, well, I'm about to tell you. So today, the acting FDA commissioner and I forgot his name again. Damn it, Sean.
Alex Azar, head of Health
and Human Services. His name is. He's not important to my eyes. Alex Azar had a meeting with President Trump today, and kind of telling him the effects of what's going on with this so-called vaping epidemic and kids dying from these THC cartridges that have all the chemicals and obviously the one that's been killing people. And pretty much he made up straight his opinion on it. That said it worried. I guess his wife straight out said it worried her, and then he came out and said that something has to be done, and he proposed a nationwide flavor ban. Pretty much an executive proposal of a nationwide flavor ban that would, I would say, put hundreds of thousands of people out of jobs. Because if you think of how many people in this country work in the vapor industry when it comes to either working at a brick and mortar or working at a vape shop, like, yeah, brick and mortar, distributor, wholesaler, manufacturer, just factor all those things. If you think about, they would be closing thousands and thousands of vape shops. But think of how many employees are in those vape shops. I would say, depending on how busy and how many locations they have, at least 5 to 6 per shop, depending. And if you have 7 or 8 shops, you can have 20 to 30 people employed to you if you're an owner. And plus, you're looking at these wholesalers who have pickers, packers, everything that are making sure these orders are getting to these vape shops and everything. You just kind of put together all the branches of this massive tree we call vaping. That was a weird analogy. I don't know where the hell that came from, but it worked. So, obviously, President Trump had one solution that we kind of, I didn't want to hear it from him, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, he hasn't really spoke what he's thought of vaping since he's been in office. He's kind of kept his mouth shut about it and not really cared about it. He's been too busy thinking about tariffs and building a wall. So, and now he finally spoke what he wants to do, and that's where this nationwide proposed flavor ban came from. And he wants the FDA to pretty much roll with it. He wants legislators and the FDA to get this done. So us as a community are left in a state of, is it over? Is that something that you're sticking in your head? Is it, because this isn't nothing's final yet, guys, but this is something, if you've known things, like if you've paid attention to the news and everything, how President Trump is when he has an opinion on something, he's kind of hard to veer from that opinion. And when he wants something done, he will do whatever it takes for it to get done.
Yeah.
So when I heard about this morning, I had a bunch of emotions run through me. I felt angry because, of course, how do you not feel angry when people are being so ignorant and not looking at what is actually happening? But I also felt defeated. It's an emotional feeling. I'm looking at it from, I know all of us in here as consumers, we know people in this industry that, like, with all the friendships we've made and everything, and everybody, all the people we've come to know within the industry, with companies and just other vapors themselves, we've come to have good relationships, and us as hobbyists and consumers will still have that opportunity to keep on this thing that we do called vaping. Will still find a way to do it. We'll still find a way to get a hold of our e-liquid. We'll still find ways to get a hold of mods. I'm looking at this as, I would say there's hundreds and thousands, even in the millions of people who are still smoking and have yet to find this product, or the people that have just started to where they don't really have much relationships in this industry, or they don't have the connections like we do. But I can't but feel emotional for them, because they made a decision to better their life. They want to be that person who is going to see their grandchildren walk down the aisle, or be able to walk them down the aisle, something like that, to where they're making a life choice to where they would be able to better their life and possibly create memories that they would not be able to create if they were still smoking. And now the government has taken that away from them, that they want to take that away from them. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's showing that it kind of puts everything together of that you don't really have rights no matter how much you think you do, because with this happening, it just shows that the rights that you have can instantly be taken away.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Tough.
And so, I think one of the things, and Poonsauce and I were talking about it before we came on, and this this to me becomes, I think, one of the hardest pills to swallow, right? Is that technically speaking, we don't have a right to vaping. What we argue for is a right to choose a less harmful alternative. So the disconnect there is that what they're looking at for their science is doctored material that says vaping bad. We're looking at science that we trust that says vaping good. And we can't get them to look at our science that's debunking their bad science. It definitely isn't the end.
No, it's not.
There's a handful of things that that are going on, and some of them can have implications that could bring things back quickly. For example, I know Juul was approached by, I believe, the FDA and the FTC, demanding proof of their harm reduction claims. So if Juul has a harm reduction claim that can be co-opted, for lack of a better term, by the rest of the community, the rest of the industry at large, you have an opportunity to show, definitively, look, here are studies that are showing vaping products are less harmful. So something like that can come along and change the tide really fast. I know when we think about the nuclear option, when we think about, okay, everything is gone, what do we do then? That's a question that's hard to answer. I've looked into, how do you repeal laws like this? These are regulatory statutes, and to repeal those regulatory statutes, you need either a court intervention, which could be possible. I don't know. Poonsauce and I were talking about it. We wonder how much funding is there for that. Another approach is Congress. Well, we know that's not going to work because you need to get 51% on our side. And right now, it seems like every senator and congressperson in the country is against us. So we don't think that's going to be an option. And even if we can get 51% swayed, we also need a president who isn't going to veto that decision to overturn it. So it poses a few challenges. This kind of turns into that notion of, we vape, we vote, we're single issue voters. That is, I think, one of our battle cries that we have left is, we're single issue voters. You're going to take this away from us. You're going to put us in a position where we have to make these decisions. We're going to put you in a position to find a new job. It's pretty damn crazy when Scott Gottlieb makes more sense than our current FDA commissioner.
And the crazy thing is, for the longest time, we thought Scott Gottlieb was the devil of vaping. We all thought that he was the downfall of this industry.
And now, of course,
he's making comments that make sense.
Now he's making arguments that, like, hey, maybe we should leave open pod systems but ban, or open tank systems but ban pod systems. I believe the the distinction there is very poignant.
Well, that was the thing about him, that to me, he understood more than others. He understood that there were more different kinds of devices. Because most of the people out there, all they see of vaping is a Juul. That's all they see vaping is, as like a pod closed device. When Scott Gottlieb understands there's such thing as a closed device, an open device, like drippers, I know he doesn't like mech mods. I know not many people do. I mean, we obviously can all agree that those kind of devices are for the advanced users, people who know what they're doing and not people who just started vaping like about 3 months ago. So it's like you get two sides of a really sharp sword when it comes to Scott, because there's some points to where he makes a lot of sense, but there's some points to where, okay, why the hell did you say this if you're just going to go ahead and say this, where it kind of takes back everything you just said.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
So, I mean, once again, guys, floor is open. If any of you folks would like to come on and, you know, share your feelings, your thoughts, your opinions, please message either one of us, and we'll
either
get
on
you
Facebook or just say it in
Absolutely.
chat. And if I have you on any of my social medias, I will send you the link to come on.
You know, we definitely want to hear from you guys. I've heard a lot of different input from a lot of different people today, and everybody's got, you know, different concerns and different positions here. You know, it's it's funny, right? Because I spoke to somebody earlier today, a friend of mine who was the office manager for a vape manufacturer here in my area. And, you know, when we were talking about it briefly, she went, you know, we kind of knew this was going to come to this some point. And I kind of chuckled with her, and I was like, you know, when you say it like that, you're not wrong. Like we've always known it was going to some point come to this kind of nonsense and arbitrary overreach. And the thing that we've both kind of agreed on is that what we can kind of see happening here is nothing. Kids are still going to vape, because I know, like, when we all started smoking as young kids, it was about the buzz we got from the nicotine. It really wasn't about how awful a cigarette tasted. And
because you fucking looked cool doing it.
Right. And so, I mean,
it's a sad thing to say, but that's what it was. That was partially a reason.
Restrict them to fucking tobacco pods. They're still going to get the buzz they're looking for. And the numbers aren't going to go really anywhere. And if that's the case, then what do you do? You know, Alex Azar said on Twitter today, he's open to even banning tobacco. He's banning vaping 100% outright. That's insane. And furthermore, something that I know Vapor Swaggins and I were talking about, anybody who's ever used the Wish app, I think everybody here probably is familiar with it at this point. I mean, I remember when it started back on as a little Facebook add-on fucking app. And, man, you can type in vape in there, and you can get knockoff Juul pods. You can get Soren products, all these different things. And if you've ever ordered from that website, app, whatever you want to call it, they are not honest. They don't check IDs. They don't do any of that thing. And on top of that, they also don't label their products correctly when it goes through customs. I've received many a camera accessory that came as a car part. So, case in point is that this is not going to work. It is going to just restrict access to adults, and little shithead teenagers like I was are going to find a way to do it. Point blank. You know, smoking marijuana has been illegal my entire lifetime up until the last couple of years in my state. I've been smoking pot since I was a young kid, almost as long as I smoked cigarettes. So it didn't stop us from getting drugs. It didn't stop us from getting alcohol. It won't stop them from getting vape devices and vape products if that's what they want to. And then what? Then what do? You know what I mean? Say, well, fuck it. You know, we'll kill all vaping and the kids can go back to smoking. You know, I see Chad Dotson in the chat. He mentioned, why aren't these kids getting friggin' minor in possession fines? There were a lot of young people who got minor in possession fines when they had a pack of cigarettes when they were younger. Why aren't these kids today catching those? And furthermore, why aren't we holding the fucking parents responsible for any of their fucking children's misgressions? We've got a shitload of little bastards dying in hospitals who've admitted to using black market cannabis products in 100% illegal states, and we're still not going to fucking make those kids be responsible, or those parents.
No, all they got was a slap on the wrist.
They're going to look at him and go, well, you nearly died in the hospital.
You're a victim.
Fuck you. You broke a goddamn law. When you break the law, you assume all inherent risk of law breaking. That's the way it works. And so, you know, that's like buying anything illegally. You know what I mean? You buy a gun on the black market and it turns out that it was stolen. Well, you're fucking responsible, jackass. You bought a gun on the black market, stupid. Same thing. Same goddamn thing.
Just because these teenagers are vaping now and to where people think, oh, it's save the children, save the children. Most of these people that are vaping know what's right and what's wrong. Just because they're not of legal age to technically have reprimandable, like, to an adult kind of actions, it doesn't mean they shouldn't get actions done upon them. And it's a crazy thing that all these people are finding these kids doing it, and the parents aren't taking responsibility for it. The schools aren't taking responsibility for it. There's so many people that need to own up and say, we've been allowing this to happen, and the kids should be reprimanded for it, but also the people who have been allowing it to happen should be reprimanded for it as well.
Ooh, see, I like what Chad Dotson is saying in here. Something that I will say is that the whole reason we're in this mess is because of a vacuum that had been sucked up by a black market. Eliminating and banning flavors will only worsen the problem by, yet again, creating a black market from where kids will get these unregulated liquids. Just like the war on drugs doesn't work, but makes the people that shouldn't have the power stronger. You can't argue with that. I mean, this is the part that I think infuriates so many people, is that we know that an illicit black market product is what is causing the demonization of an industry, and yet at the same fucking time, we're going to create a goddamn black market so that way we can fucking save the damn children.
Well, you know it's logical when the government's looking at him saying, okay, well, there's a black market here, we're going to try to get rid of it. Let's get rid of it by creating possibly the biggest black market that ever is going to happen in history. Because you've got to look at it.
I don't know about that.
I think this will be bigger than
prohibition was probably a bigger black market.
I think this has the potential to be bigger.
I don't, because all right, like, so this is, and I'm glad you kind of said that, because this is something that I think we have to create a reality check here. Okay, vapors as a whole make up roughly 3% of the entire population. Okay. So when you think about that, when you think about vapors being like maybe 3% of the population, and you have roughly 15 to 17% of the population as smokers, who the fuck cares about us? We are such a minority. We don't have the numbers quite yet to fully be that voice that we want ourselves to be. Compound that with the fact that you've got a lot of those vapors who are just what I've always referred to as a passive vapor. They're not somebody who's part of this community. They're not even part of the greater community. They don't, you know what I mean? They just use some sort of vape device daily in order to not smoke. Those people aren't plugged into any of this and genuinely have an opinion of either, fuck it, I'll go back to cigarettes, or fuck it, I'll just stop vaping altogether. Whatever. So that probably puts us, the ones that want to be vocal and want to fight for it, into like 3/10 of a percent. You know what I mean? Maybe 1% of that 3% that vape. So, you know, we have to keep in mind that we are a very, very small group. We feel like we are huge and that we are massive in our world numbers, and we are. But at the same time, we are very small. I know I draw a comparison to being an activist for cannabis and being an activist for vaping. And when I think about some of the turnouts for cannabis activism, and you see 40, 50, 60,000 people turn out to an event for that, and then you look at a convention for vaping and you have maybe 10,000 over the course of 3 days versus a single day. You know what I mean? We are a small microcosm of a culture, and much in the same way that the Royal College was able to make a connection of the dangers of smoking well before our country accepted it, they've done it again with vaping. And right now, we've been riding a wave of something brand new, and we, for lack of a better term, we're the hipsters. We're the people who were there first. You know what I mean? And what do kids do?
I did it before it was cool, Sean.
Right, absolutely. And that's the thing, right? Because what do the kids do? They glob onto what's new. And what's new right now is this. And so they've globbed onto it, and it's been a fad. I know I've spoken to people who ask their younger siblings and nephews and stuff like, how bad is the vaping problem in your school? And they laugh and go, there isn't one. Those kids moved on.
No, you know they're not in it for the long run.
And that's the thing is, like, we the vapors who are in this understand that these numbers are being misrepresented. You know, we're talking about a situation where they go, oh my God, teen vaping is up 70%. Yeah, but 70% increase of 3% of all kids vaping isn't the same as 70% of all teenagers are vaping.
They twist the words around to make it seem like they're going towards their agenda. They add little things into there to where something not so serious can sound something like an epidemic, or something Absolutely. Like this is something that's devastating the entire nation. And it's crazy how people are so naive to when media or when some of these legislators think they know what they're talking about, and they say something, and of course the public comes out of there like, oh my God, this has to be true. This has to be what is actually going on. When it's literally possibly the exact opposite.
When I went to my Board of Health meeting, and I pulled out my vape device, which had a little gear on it, and it was this mod at the time. And I explained to them, like, this isn't what's being taken from children, but banning flavors is going to take this away from adults like myself. They were astounded. They didn't understand why there were so many different kinds of devices. And I had to explain to them that, you know, there are different methods of ingestion. And so, you know, myself, I might want lower nicotine and a slightly larger volume of vapor, whereas somebody else might want small volume of vapor, a little bit larger amount of nicotine. And when they began to understand why there's so much to all this, they felt less scared of it. And they understood that there could be a balance. That's the thing, is that right now we don't, you know, this is breaking news stuff, and we don't fully know what the language is going to be. So all we can do is speculate. They may say ban flavored vape products for 6 months, and let's see if it works to reduce teen vaping, and then we'll move from there. And we don't know. Who knows? You know, maybe they look at those numbers in 6 months and say, well, shit, kids gave up on this vape thing, and we can let the flavors come back slowly. And next thing you know, everything comes back to normal in its own weird way.
That's looking at it from the positive aspect of it.
Yeah, they may say, nope, fuck all that. Until you make it through FDA, your product isn't coming back ever again. So,
which I feel like that is going to tie into the PMTAs to where you'll only be able to stay around if you can file and be approved. They're going to work hand in hand with each other to where they're going to ban everything, ban flavors, and then the PMTAs are still going to be out there to where if these companies want to stay in business and keep making product, they're going to have to put down a huge amount of money to do it. Something that most companies out there can't afford. It's pretty much like the flavor ban would be putting you inside the coffin, and then these PMTAs, knowing that you can't afford them, would then be just nailing you in it. Saying, we know you're not going to be able to get out of this, so we're just going to lock you away.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I just want to urge people to do is to take a minute to take a deep breath before you know, go crazy with this stuff, because this stuff's enough to make you go crazy. Until we have the documents to know what's actually going to be in the law, we can't actually react.
All we can do is speculate.
All we can do is speculate at this point. So we need to be able to take a minute to take a deep breath and remember, we're the logical side. We're the ones that have science on our side. And, just like it's been a slow, long process for cannabis to get its place and have medical and all those things happen in all the different states, vaping's going to take some time before it's able to convince people that it's not the boogeyman they think it is. And in that vein, we have science on our side. We're going to be able to continue to produce more of this data that backs up our side. As that data continues to mount, at some point, the scale shifts and they can't argue anymore. They have to accept the data. And it hurts us, right? Because we think, well, shit, this company's going to be gone, that company's going to be gone, these people are going to lose jobs. And I agree. But don't assume that they haven't had a backup plan the whole time. So, they may be able to stick around long enough to come back around. We don't know, and we can't count those people out either. So I want everybody to keep the hope alive. I want you guys to get vocal. You want to sign the petition that Stan just shared? Go do it. You want to make the phone call, because I've been seeing the phone number roll around? Go do it.
Make the phone call.
Do something. Do everything. But at this point in time, it's our civic duty as citizens of the United States of America to be engaged in the civic process. And that's what we should do. We should get engaged, and we should stay engaged, and we should continue to fight for what we believe in.
I want to make a little comment here that I've been noticing throughout the entire day. It pisses me off. I'm not blaming anybody in chat for this. I know, and I see all of you posting like all the time and everything, and like showing that you're constantly fighting for this industry. But the one thing that annoys the hell out of me is, first of all, as me and Sean know, all social medias have been blowing the fuck up today. It's been insane. On Instagram, every other post is talking about a flavor ban, or with the contacting President Trump's office, and then the petition. It's literally been taking up my entire news feed, my entire Instagram feed. People that that have never advocated before, or use their platform to actually do something positive for this industry and actually come out and do it. And it kind of made me angry that they did it. It's like, I'm happy that they did it. It pisses me off that I'm looking at these people, I'm like, you're just doing this now? We've been going through this battle for years. The first battle, probably, like I was listening to Nick Grim Green earlier, he said probably one of the first battles came in 2014. 2014, that is 5 years ago. Some of these people are just trying to use their platforms now. Are you fucking kidding me? Where the fuck were you when August 8th? Where were you using your platform back in 2014 if you vape back then? These so-called vapors who think they say that they're putting out these kind of posts to where they're going to sign the petition and all that stuff. They're putting out the stuff to put with Trump's phone number. I am happy that they do it, but it also frustrates the shit out of me because, first of all, I know they're probably not doing it for the right reason. They're either doing it because they know it's trending, which that pisses the fuck out of me. You're not going to post advocacy stuff because it's trending. First of all, that's not the reason to do it. If you're doing it for that reason, there's no reason for you to be doing it in the first place. And you should delete that post right now if you're one of those people. And it's just showing that us as an industry as a whole, as consumers, as people in this community, have been so separated and been so full of ourselves, pretty much, trying to either grow a supposed your own brand kind of thing. I'm not saying like Stan's definitely not an example, Swags is not an example. People who've been just using their social media to kind of just gain clout for themselves, to kind of get them to become popular in the vape game, who are now just posting about advocacy, to where we're up against a wall right now with legislations, and to the point where there's probably no way for us to get out. That's a definite possibility. They, like Stan said right now, big vapor business have failed us. And we're their supporters too. Yeah. Businesses that we've put thousands, hundreds of, as a whole, these businesses have gotten, I would say, in the millions of dollars worth of product sold. In the millions. And they take the money and do what they want with it. And not doing anything to do anything for this industry. And suddenly out of nowhere, out of the blue, oh yeah, we're all about advocacy, blah, blah, blah. No. That's not it. You're just doing that to make yourself look good in the moment. And it's these people who are posting advocacy now when they have never done it before, who are saying, oh, I'm making my voice be heard. A little bit too late, buddy.
Yeah.
And it's just, it makes me angry. It frustrates me. It gets me emotional that these people can be so wrapped around their own self to where this industry is so much more than that. I've learned that from the people I've met, from the experiences I've had, seeing this actually work. That people are so consumed in themselves to where they choose to take an industry that is benefiting the mass market, the mass public, and using it to gain their own personal selfishness and creating some kind of image that they think they have. Yeah. Again, I wanted to kind of reiterate here, if any of you guys want to come on here and tell us your opinions of what was said today by President Trump and anything, please get a hold of me or Sean. I know there's some Ohmies sitting in here, so if any of you guys want to pop in here and tell us your thoughts, you already have the link to this room. Get your asses in here. We want to hear from you.
You know, I belong to a group for vape shop owners and stuff, some of the things I've been looking at, there's definitely a lot of concern and a lot of stress and frustration. But one of the things that I read that I think is valid and should be repeated is from Matthew Salter. He says, every company and consumer should draft a press release letter stating that SFATA and VTA need to come together at this critical juncture and form one singular trade organization and work side by side with each other to get a meeting with Trump and give this the best damn possible chance this industry has. We as companies have given them our dollars. We as consumers have supported the companies that are members. It's time for us to have a singular unified voice. Ladies and gentlemen,
have one single organization to fight for us instead of small ones.
That might be one of the best suggestions I have read so far as to an approach of how to deal with this. I mean, it's hard to believe that we have a chance when you're looking at some of the other situations that have gone on in the news, but you never know. And when you have people talking about money and the end of manufacturing in the United States and the end of small businesses and the party lines that tend to be used by conservative party members, and it's election season, guys. This is election season. So you know full well that this is either going to be a big win for him or a big loss and amongst his base. And this is an opportunity where we can actually swing and possibly, I don't know if it's a hit and a home run, but we might hit a grounder to first or second base,
Okay, we got our first person that's going to come on. So Mr.
Yes.
Shane Oakley is going to be coming on here. So
yes. This is a man I'd like to hear from. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Shane Oakley, and I trust you guys do, Shane Oakley and Texas Cloud Town do weekday and weekend wisdom. And these boys are some of my favorite people on YouTube right now when it comes to fighting for the advocacy. So this is going to be good. I look forward to hearing what Shane has to say. It's nuts. It's nuts, guys. It's funny because there's a certain vape shop owner I've been trying to see if I catch what he has to say, and I'm disappointed I haven't heard from him yet because he's an individual who always has a brilliant way of summing things up, and I'm hoping I find him. But yeah, guys, Twitter, man, Twitter. That's another one that I can't stress enough right now. You guys all know that he gets off on Twitter, so get on Twitter and tweet the hell at him because that's gonna wake him up. That's gonna get him to see you.
I'd like to welcome our first guest tonight, Mr. Shane Oakley. What's going on, brother?
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I had to get the stream muted because I was hearing two Seans. I didn't know which one I needed to pay attention to.
All of them. All of the Seans.
So,
what's going
everyone,
on, buddy?
Not much, man. It's hell on wheels right now, and I think that's for everybody in this industry, whether you're a manufacturer, whether you're a hobbyist, whether you're just a casual vapor, or if you're an activist like we are. It is hell on wheels right now. I know last night, Jay, Anthony, and I had a great discussion about all this stuff that's going on, and then everything else happens today. Another knee-jerk reaction to false information. Well, I don't want to say false information, but incorrect information or omitted truth is another great way to look at it. They're saying, I gave this example last night. It's the whisper game. You have 15 or 20 people in a row, and you start out at one end telling something, and by the time it gets to the other end, it's something completely different. It went from there's a blue car with a goat in it to that blue guy has a goat horn and he's blowing it in the back of a car. It's something that gets totally misconstrued. by the time it gets up to where it needs to get to. What we need is these people to come out and speak the truth. Yes, my child used an illegal THC cartridge, and that's the reason he's in the hospital, or that's the reason my child passed away. What we need is better enforcing of black market items, such as the THC cartos that aren't licensed to be sold. If it's legal in your area and you're not of age, I'm sorry, buddy, you just got to wait. It is what it is. But they expect to come out and take all this stuff away and it make a difference. It's not going to make a difference. It's going to make people, and I apologize if I sound funny, my sinuses are all crazy.
You're good,
it's going to make people, it's going to make people resent the government even more than they already do. You know, why would you want to do that? You know, I tweeted at Gretchen Whitmer today and asked her, hey, do you realize that your tax money, your 990 million billion, whatever it was, that you're getting, and you taking away flavors of vaping will cause 9,600 more deaths just in your state? So is $103,000 worth a person? You know, I asked Jay and Anthony last night, if somebody offered you that tax money, but you will never see your child graduate, what would you do? And the common answer is going to be no.
Definitely tell them to keep that fucking money. Because some things,
you know, but that
are just more than that.
Yeah, I know that's not the whole reason, and that may not even be part of the reason. But from the outside looking in, it may have something to do with it. We're losing tax money from tobacco. Let's get rid of the e-liquid flavors. Then they won't have an option.
You know, and it feels like it's that, and it feels like it's lost revenue from traditional NRT products, and it feels like it's lost MSA dollars, and it feels like they're looking at us like, God damn it, you're ruining the status quo, and we don't like this, and let's just crush it all together. But then the question bears asking, if that is the case, why not crush it all together?
Right.
And I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here because I think everybody knows where I stand on the matter. But, you know, it is a question that bears asking, is that if that really is your end goal, is to completely devastate this industry, why not just do it outright? Why at least leave vaping products for the that are tobacco flavored for people to find a off ramp from smoking? So yeah. You know, like, it sounds to me like there's this apprehensive acceptance that vaping is a safer technology, while all the while not accepting that adults like flavors, and that kids will just be kids and be little shitheads and get into things they're not supposed to, and that parents need to be responsible for that.
Yes.
You know, and it's kind of like, it feeds me back to that whole notion from the beginning of the show, where you get this feeling like it's all in an effort to run our society in a direction that we shouldn't be going, where we let government entities control parts of our lives that we shouldn't be letting them control. Right. You know, you tell me now that I can't vape, and then pretty soon you're going to tell, and you know, you tell me that I can't have certain size sodas at the fast food place, and then you tell me that I can't have, you know, these snack cakes, and then you tell me that I can't do when does it end?
Well, what's next? Bread lines? Are we going full socialist now? You know, we were founded on freedom, the freedom of a lot of different choices. You know, the main one being religion. That's the reason this whole place started, was basic. We want to choose how we would like to be. We want to choose the person that we are. And that's how this country was started. And they've gone so far away from that, where we want you to be your own person, but only if it falls in these certain categories.
Right.
And you know, I've always been told, with Democratic, it's always about bigger government. With Republicans, it's always about smaller government. And I'm not seeing that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing the government get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's almost like a tumor. They have all these little tentacles that are going into every little thing that they're not supposed to be in. And they need to understand that they're killing people. I mean, literally, their choices are killing people. A flavor ban, and I understand that's just taking away the flavoring in the liquid. But how are these people that run these shops and that own these shops? I know, Sean, you own shop. Shop owners, probably multiple shop owners.
Mm-hmm.
How can they survive? How can they provide for their family? They're not going to be able to.
Well, and so that's the craziest part is that, I've heard from some of these people that they'll shift gears and their shop will be something else. It'll be a CBD place or something like that. And okay, that could work for a handful of people. You might have enough CBD traffic that you can keep your doors open. But I mean, I look at the shop that I was in, and the CBD was keeping us afloat. And I think if you lost the e-liquid sales altogether and the vape stuff, it wouldn't stay open with just CBD, or it could, but the owner would be the only person who could run the place because he couldn't afford to pay the other guy that works there.
Right.
And these are going to be decisions that people will have to make. On top of that, you end up putting a lot of other people in precarious situations. I read a story from a person who, young man, had been building himself up throughout his entire young adult life. And here he was at like the age of 25, 26 years old, and he'd saved up all of this money from these, other small businesses he had created, and he was preparing to open his first vape shop. And, he was literally a couple weeks out from opening his doors. He's already got $40,000 into the build out and almost $100,000 worth of product to get started. And now this just hit him 2 weeks before he's supposed to even open his doors. And now he's like, wow. I'm out $140,000 fucking dollars. I've worked the last 5+ years of my life to earn, to open this, to live the goddamn American dream, and it's getting taken.
That's what the
right
American
out
dream is becoming an entrepreneur.
Right.
That's what this country was. That's what the status quo of this country was built off of. Making something for yourself and not giving into the big business, not having to be a machine for big business. You can go out making this to where you can come here and you can make your dreams, something that you wanted to do, a reality. And this, with what is happening right now, it just shows that they're taking that away from us. This is, we're looking at this as it's attacking vaping. There's something a lot bigger to this, that this is just a little part of what is happening.
Yeah. I mean, this from that angle, you see a consolidation of power scenario, because this does take a lot of small entrepreneurs, which is what a lot of this industry was built on. Small entrepreneurs who, started out from a kitchen in, 2004, 2006, built businesses up from the ground, followed every regulatory step that they had to follow all the way through. And then a bombshell gets dropped on them, and they have to figure out, well, how do I change course now? Once you've worked for yourself like that, you don't want to ever be a cog in the machine again. And, maybe that's one of the blessings, is that entrepreneurial spirit will live on in all of those people. And they're going to adapt and overcome. We know a lot of e-liquid companies over the last several months have been making CBD versions of all their favorite e-liquids. I think I think I'd like to see what happens with that. When you ban flavored vape products, I assume from the language that you're only looking at nicotine-containing liquids. That doesn't get rid of every company's CBD version of their liquid. And if that's the case...
There's a lot of money these people invested into making their liquids into CBD.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, like the company can live on. The company can still provide a product that is familiar to you, you know, and maybe it's not a bad thing. You know,
we're going to be having,
or is there?
We're going to be having another guest come in here shortly. So, just giving you guys the heads up, somebody should be popping in.
Cool.
So, what were you saying, Shane?
So, what if? Is there a loophole for 0 milligram nicotine?
We don't know. It's so vague.
We don't have language yet. But that's a fair question because, I mean, if that's the case, we could be positioning ourselves to short fills. And, you know, we've all got some friends over the pond. We know it's not that big a deal to those guys. They got used to it pretty quick. So another interesting question that I'm going to pose to you guys, and we'll ask the next guests when they pop on as well, is if it came down to you can keep flavors, but we have to ban nicotine salt, would you be willing to? Would you, as a representative, let's say, of the industry, be willing to stand for that sacrifice?
Yes, any day, all day.
Yeah, because sometimes you got to make small sacrifices for the greater good. And if that small sacrifice needs to be made to where this industry can still thrive and prosper, I'm willing to freaking go with it.
And I'm running 6 milligram freebase in this little Geek Vape Frenzy, and I am perfectly satisfied.
I mean, now it's a thing, right? I keep a 9 milligram here in this MTL tank, same concept.
And it's, you know, it needs to be kind of a potent flavor. Like this one's a pink starburst, so it's got just a punch of flavor. You know,
that's directed towards kids, Shane. You don't like flavors. You can't like flavors.
But I mean, it's just called pink. You know, it doesn't say what it is on the label. It's from Vapor Stock product.
Yep.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine tried it. He was not a fan of it, but a buddy of mine tried it, and I was actually impressed with it. I accidentally ordered a 6 milligram instead of a 3, and I had it in an RTA for a little bit, and it was a little too punchy. And I was like, well, you know, I'll save it because I knew this was coming, and so I put it in that little frenzy kit, and I'm totally surprised because the flavor coming off of that little kit's very good. Nice. And I'm satisfied off of it. I can take a couple of hits and go back to what I was doing, and I'm okay for 30, 45 minutes. Absolutely. And I mean, I think that harkens back to something a lot of us have been saying, which is that, you know, just a few years back, we were successful at converting plenty of smokers with a free-based high milligram that had like a higher PG level than maybe most of today's flavors. And, you know, it kind of just shows that this can still work. One of my favorite examples of it is the Juno pod system. The Juno pod system is free-based nicotine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they go up to 48 milligrams. So you imagine 48 milligram free base, like a 50-50 blend in a pod like that. That's going to pack a mean throat hit.
Yeah.
I used to tell people all the time, if you want to get off of nicotine salt, the easiest way I can convert you, if you're like, say, a 50 milligram vapor or a 5% Juul user or something like that, try that 48 milligram. That throat hit is going to rock you. And that throat hit's going to rock you consistently.
Yeah.
And it works. It works for a lot of people. Never mind those like 2-3 pack a day smokers, people that we often argue, you know, to keep the salt nick for. It was working for some of them too. So it's a valid question. So there's Mr. TenaciousTX himself.
What's up, Stan?
What's going on, man? Well, he's fixing something.
His very focused eyes.
I know it. I thought he was frozen there for a second.
Can you hear us, sir? You're just being quiet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Sean was still talking. I had the video playing. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just trying not to interrupt. My bad.
No, you're good, man.
All good, buddy.
So obviously you've been listening to what we've been talking about. And I know you're kind of all over the place with how you feel right now. So tell us what you're feeling right now.
What I'm feeling?
Yes, after everything that's come around.
Yeah, I told you, man. I told you I wasn't. You asked me if I had anything to.
Everybody has a different perspective on what they think is going on. So you're gonna bring something
because of the fact that people watch the stew and there's somewhat of a. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but sometimes people look up to what me or like Nick or somebody has to say.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Honestly, I don't feel comfortable talking about it because I'm disheartened as hell. I'm not that guy that always wants to tell people like, not look on the bright side, but keep things positive. Positive things happen.
I mean, I understand, Stan. I started this whole show, before we even, opened with like, it hurts because I know that there are people who look to me for advice. Like, I got a lot of people in my inbox that I talk to on a regular basis. I know some of you are in this chat tonight. And it kills me that, like, for the first time ever, I don't have a good answer for anybody right now about it. The only thing I can say to people is it's a wait and see thing. We don't even have the actual verbiage of anything in front of us. We just got a notice of intent to kick our ass,
Well, honestly, I don't understand I don't understand the BS reasoning behind it. We've got to take care of the kids, and there's all these deaths and da-da-da-da-da. Then why the hell is tobacco flavoring what does flavoring have to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
If they think e-liquid's the problem, then what's leaving a few e-liquids on the market going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to think about this, Stan, as a father, and looking at it from the parents' perspective of it, where they're trying to say it's going to save the kids, it's going to save the kids. Does that give you a different perspective at it a little bit? Looking
Absolutely
at it?
not.
I mean, Sean,
I don't give a shit
you're
what
not
they
a dad,
think.
but Shane, you're a father. Two of you guys below us, you're fathers. And I don't know if
let me answer it. Damn it. No, I don't give two shit. Like, I don't expect anybody to take care of my damn kids.
Exactly.
And if my son does something or my daughter does something, I hold them accountable. Or I hold myself accountable. I say, you know what? That's my fault. I didn't tell you the right way you were supposed to do that. Here's what should happen, or here's how you should happen. Or, if they do something stupid or whatever, I'm like, what were you thinking? Let's use a little common sense. What do you think is going to happen to your hand if you touch something that feels that hot from that far away? I hold my kids accountable. And I let them understand, like, that wasn't very smart of what you just did. And this is why. Like, next time, let's take a little bit of a second and think about it. And my kids, yeah, they're kids. They're going to learn the hard way. They're going to do stupid shit. I did stupid shit. I was a lot smarter than my kids are sometimes. I got away with a lot. But, it doesn't change the fact that I was responsible for it, and if I did get caught, I probably would have dealt with some pretty serious consequences for a lot of it. I did deal with some consequences, but I didn't blame it on nobody else. Yeah, sure, make excuses, but I didn't blame it on nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
Do your kids ask about the vape? Shane and Stan, do your kids ask about the vaping? Like, how often do they ask about it? And
they have.
Mm-hmm.
Not very often anymore. They understand. Like I've told you guys before, my kids, we try not to like vape around them. Like, we try not to vape in the same room, or we don't vape in the car if they're in the car. You know, they're not allowed in this room. And you guys have witnessed me in Zoom chats and stuff, chase them out whenever I'm blowing big clouds or whatever. Like, they try to open the door and just come in. Like, you got to knock, don't come in here.
I've seen it in person.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys know that's how we do things in my house. But on the other hand, and hate me if you want, I don't care. I live in Texas. I believe in gun rights. I also have guns. Okay. Has my son touched a gun, fired a gun? Yes. Mm-hmm. He's 11. Did I do those things? Yes. I hunted deer when I was junior high school. Mm-hmm. Like, the fact of the matter is that you take away a child's curiosity to figure it out and do stupid shit on their own when you educate them about something.
Right.
You show it to them, you let them touch it, you tell them, this is how you be safe with it. There's no reason why you ever need to touch this. You know, I told my sons, like, Dad, he smoked for a long time. This is the only thing that helped him. There's absolutely no reason that you should ever do this if you did not smoke. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's why does it smell so good? Well, because it tastes like a flavor, so that I can, you know, want to use it rather than wanting to go back to a cigarette.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an easy conversation
really
that
sweet. Go have a freaking cookie. I don't give a shit. Yeah. But you
I have two older kids. I have one that's 21 and one that's 19. And the 21-year-old has tried vaping. She didn't like it. And my 19-year-old has come in here and smelled stuff that I had and been like, can I try this to see what it tastes like? Mm-hmm. And I'll do that. He's 19. He's allowed. Mm-hmm. Now, he doesn't vape full time, but he likes, you know, the lemonade flavor that I have and certain things that he's tried. But now he doesn't do it full time. Now, the 16-year-old and the 7-year-old, you know, they never come in here. You know, they never ask me about it. The 7-year-old's intrigued by it just simply because it's this huge cloud going everywhere. But, you know, I only vape in here, and I'll vape outside. You know, if I'm not in here, I'll go outside. And you know, same way with smoking. Whenever I smoked, I would smoke outside. I would never smoke in the house.
Have you been prepared to have that conversation with the younger ones? With the younger kid, the 7-year-old, if he asks what this is and he starts to show curiosity towards it?
Yeah. And I mean, it's a simple conversation, but you have to wait. I have to wait until he's old enough to understand it. Because at 7 years old, you're not going to understand an addiction. You know, nothing like that.
Way to be prepared for it. I cut my hand open and it will not stop bleeding. I don't think there's a way to prepare for it as much as there is understanding that it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. As long as you know, like, because I know that my 5-year-old has asked about it and my 11-year-old has asked about it at different times in their life. That is a completely different conversation, you know. And like he said, you have to understand exactly how much they're going to comprehend and what's the best way to give them the knowledge they need to know it's nothing for them to touch, and also satisfy their curiosity. Because my son is Mr. Why? Well, how? Well, what for? Why?
Yeah.
Like, to everything. And so I have to actually have a little bit more adult conversation with my 11-year-old than I ever dreamed I would. But to go back to the Donald Trump thing, the whole thing is I don't, like I said, and I think that this is a very important topic, or a very important thing. Stop! I'll be out in a minute. I'm live right now. Sorry.
Parenting right there.
There you go. Thank you, baby. I'll sign it when I'm done. She slid her sign-up sheet under the door. Okay.
Good game.
Yeah. So basically, something that people aren't asking is, because everybody's just so floored by the whole flavor ban thing, is if you 100% are basing this on the fact that you need to protect kids and the lung illness thing, why the hell is it being left on the market at all? Mm-hmm. Like, nobody's asking that question. So it's like everybody's so blindsided by the fact that it's happening. Nobody's asking, well, why one and not the other? And why is all the THC stuff not being touched?
It seems like it's like a compounded issue where we found something that we can scapegoat in this, and let's just lump it all together and do something now.
Yeah.
It feels like they've been waiting for the one thing that they can finally clench down on, and now this lung illness has happened, so they're like, boom, let's take care of vapor right now. It's like, you're not actually trying to solve the problem. You're trying to use a problem to
create another one,
to like put the last nail in the coffin for your agenda.
Mm-hmm. But then the other thing is, you know, you mentioned why are they leaving some on the market and not taking it all. I think a lot of people are kind of afraid to ask that question because they may turn around and say, oh, okay, well, we'll just take it all then.
Dude, who cares? Like, let them threaten it all, because then that'll make people even more mad. That'll make people even more active.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It seems like in this industry or in this culture, people, as long as they have a little something to hold on to, they're like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in here is afraid to ask that question. You know, I think it's more of the casual vapor that just gets coils and juice every 2 weeks. That would be a person that'd be afraid to ask that.
It makes me angry, and I don't have a way. It makes me angry. It makes me ask even more questions. I've been asking questions for years. You guys have seen it. I've been asking questions for years, and it doesn't matter how much research I do or research I listen to from other people or anything. Don't ever get any answers to the questions. So
just get answers like that create more questions.
Exactly. Questions just keep coming, and there's no answer, or, well, there's answers. There's no understanding as to the thought process for those answers. You know, like, I don't know what needs to happen, or I know what needs to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know I don't know who to turn to. I mean, I don't know what the VTA is saying because I haven't looked it up yet. I just got off work not too long ago, and I've been working on my computer while I was listening to you guys. That's why when Poonsauce asked if I wanted to come on, I was like, dude, I don't know, man.
The VTA has issued a response. I have read it. I can only really paraphrase because I can't immediately pull it back up. But one of the big things that they pressed on was the loss of small businesses and the impact there. The potential to put, over 100,000 people out of work. And they're right. I mean,
yeah, that's what they're there for. They're there to bring up that stuff. Why weren't they saying this to the politicians before? Were they saying this to the politicians?
They have been. And the thing is when you're attacked from every angle, like this industry has been, you've only got so many resources. You can only put them in so many places. And all the while, VTA was doing their thing, protecting this state and that state and this town and that state and this city. And the federal aspect of it has always been one of those things that we, I think, for lack of a better term, assumed had a steady pathway of where it was moving to, with FDA regulation and everything being on the table to the point that it was. And this just kind of came right in the back door on everybody. Like, oh, hey, I mean, in a matter of 3 weeks, lung illnesses are suddenly happening. Lung illnesses are linked to THC cartridges. Vaping is killing people.
Vaping. I you know what?
I hate, I hate the verb vaping.
No, I don't hate the verb vaping. I hate the fact that people just associate it with whatever the hell they want.
That's what I mean. Like, I hate it being used as a verb. There's so many different aspects to what vaping actually is. There's so many different subcategories of vaporizing something. But when they decide to put something out there, they do it as a whole. They don't do it as, we're looking at this part of it. We're not looking at this part of it. We're not looking at this part of it. We're looking at all of it together. And they're thinking that fixing one little thing will create the solution to the entire thing. To where your solution you think you're going to create is going to cause more problems than you ever thought you would ever know.
You know what? I fought the verb juuling so hard. And the word juuling kind of has fallen out of use a little bit. Not because of me, just saying I fought the verb so hard. I hated the word juuling. Now I wish that it would have become more popular and they would be calling it juuling. So there would be a difference between juuling and vaping. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I think OhmMyLanta is taking it a little bit too into the
tinfoil hat.
That's a little too far into tinfoil.
Yeah, Dan, this falls back into my argument that, you know, vapors make up maybe 3% of the entire population. Is definitely not to distract vapors from that, for sure. But I mean, it's true. It's something I've been arguing for a while. There's a very huge disconnect about the technology of vaping and how it applies to all different things. I mean, this is a legal cannabis cartridge. That's the form of vaping that in the black market is killing people. This is a legal e-cigarette vape product with e-liquid in it. I even have a dry herb vaporizer tucked over here in the corner that's used for vaporizing dry herbs, tobacco, cannabis, whatever it might be. These are all forms of vaporizing my product. The issue is, what am I vaporizing and ingesting? And that's the problem that they don't fully grasp. And when they're looking at all of this junk science that says formaldehyde and all this nonsense, they think that's what's doing it.
Where the hell did that come from anyway? Like, how long has it been since we've even heard that? It's been debunked so long ago. Like,
and that's the thing.
Like, freaking Whitmer's like, oh, formaldehyde. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
It was literally pulled out of left field. Like, did you just pull that out of your ass? How far did you have to go back to actually find that study?
She didn't. She heard some damn jackass say it in 5 minutes before she decided to freaking put that shit into action.
Absolutely. And that's the thing that we're up against. I mean, these people, all right, I got to go back and find it. There was a local news organization that claimed that I think it was 83% of e-liquids that were tested at a local vape shop were found to have opioids in it. Fuck you. No, they weren't.
Wow.
Like, are you telling me that it's like a really shady shop that mixes in-house only? Because, like, okay, maybe, just maybe, that could be, here we go, Representative Paul Ray, 84% of e-liquids sold in Salt Lake County vape shops test positive for opioids.
Bullshit. How many percent?
83.
That is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my whole... Dude, look, you guys know, like, I cuss occasionally and stuff. And
Stan, if you want to let loose, let loose.
I know. I cuss occasionally and stuff in live shows. I try not to do it on live shows, but I tend to get a little angry. I have a mouth like a sailor. I just try not to be like that live. So if I get a little loose, I apologize.
Be my guest.
That's such a blatant bullshit freaking thing. 83%. There's not a damn shop in the nation that has 83% of their freaking pods, and that would have to be doctored. There's no freaking way that would have, like, do you know how many different companies 83% accounts for?
Exactly. Well, and it's actually 84. It says 84% of e-cigarette liquid sold in Salt Lake County vape shops tested positive for opioids and other illegal drugs, according to Utah State Rep Paul Ray.
That's such bullshit. That's such bullshit.
It's maddening. I mean,
Well,
like I said, the only way I can even remotely believe that is if every single shop that they were testing had a mix your own situation where they were mixing it there on the spot, and in which case you've got a whole fuck ton of drug addicts who are cross-contaminating shit, which again goes back to why we have premium e-liquids with clean lab standards that we want to enforce.
Exactly. Look, I also would want to see those tests, because I would be like, go next door to the next vape shop, get a whole bunch of sealed, unopened e-liquid bottles and test those, and then tell me the same thing. Because either you're lying or that is a single shop that you just happen to fall upon that has a big problem.
Right.
Like, bullshit.
So, I mean, like, this is the kind of craziness that our elected officials are looking at and believing and buying into. And we're such a small number of people who are vocal and active against this that it's difficult. It's difficult for us to fully get our message across because we don't have the numbers. And, you know, it's sheer insanity now. It's just sheer insanity at this point.
All this talk about taming the Wild West, dude. You know what you're doing? Is you're taking it back to the freaking Stone Age. That's what you're doing.
Yep.
Like, the whole thing is so freaking unbelievable that, you know, I keep telling myself, somebody in power somewhere has some sense, right? Like, if somebody has some sense. And isn't it a damn shame that Scott Gottlieb gets out of office and is doing something else before he starts freaking making sense?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Something is it like a prerequisite that once you are put into office, you have to completely, excuse me, the plosive there, you have to completely just lose all sense whatsoever, that like all common sense goes out the damn window. You're not allowed to use common sense whatsoever anymore because you are now in office.
The sad thing, the common sense nowadays isn't so common.
Common sense doesn't exist anymore, Poonsauce. I'm sorry to say. And you know what? It started with your generation, brother. It didn't start. It started with my generation, and it's become rampant with your generation. And with all of these advisors and interns and everything that are my age now, like advising these old heads that are in power, you know, the next up-and-comers that will be in power over the next 10, 15, 20 years, they're the ones advising people like the president and FDA Commissioner Ned Sharpless and like all these people, and they're just there's no, this is where the whole bullshit accountability thing comes from. We have to take care of them because somebody needs to take care of them because they're looking to us to take care of them. Bite me. I'm not looking for you to take care of me. You know, and my son won't either because I'm going to raise him right.
You know, I agree. And it's
I'm probably speaking gibberish by now. I'm at a loss.
It's such a negative attitude to take, but at this point, you reach this level of disdain for the system where you go, you know, I can't wait for you all to look at us and go, oh my God, what happened? Why did cancer rates and smoking rates go back up? And we can all look at them and go, because you took away the disassociating property of vaping.
Yeah.
I don't like the taste of tobacco anymore because I've vaped flavors that I enjoyed for so long that when I smell tobacco, I find it repulsive. I couldn't have done that if the only vape option I had was a shitty version of the tobacco I've been smoking the whole time.
How do you hold an entire entity accountable? because this entire thing is 100% the fault of the media. 100%. There's nobody else to blame about this whole thing. Yes, you can hold the powers to be accountable for their lack of doing any research, but when part of the research is listening to media as well as looking at science, you know, because the media is supposed to be the people that really get down and research this stuff and get in there get their hands dirty and figure these things out and report the facts. Dude,
Yeah, that's what it used to be.
yeah, exactly. But that's not the whole thing here is the fault of the media and so-called media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
go ahead, Shane.
you know, they took the end of the telephone line or the end of the whisper game and they ran with it. Oh, it was vaping. You know, they kind of pick and choose what they want to put in their story.
They pick things from multiple different aspects and create it into one story.
Well, let's not forget the CDC walked back their statement too.
Exactly.
Just came out and were like, "Yep, it's definitely been found to be all these the vitamin E problems are in all of these THC carts." And then they walked it back a day later and said, "Well, we don't really know that it was just that. It could also still be the e-cigarettes."
Yeah.
And I mean, what does that sound like? That sounds like somebody looked at them and went, You're gonna screw up our plan here. You got to fix that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you walk that back?
It's not clear yet. Coil image.
Yes.
Yeah.
I assume it's just tobacco with no mixer, no blends.
Right. My expectation, honestly, because let's be honest, a lot of our politicians are friggin' lazy, is they're probably going to do a copy and paste from the Michigan ban.
Yep.
In which case, like everything else, a distinguishing flavor is the way that they like to write it. So they're trying to cover a base to make sure that a vanilla tobacco won't be an option, that a berry tobacco won't be an option, because if it smells, tastes, remotely resembles any aroma or flavor outside of the smell of tobacco, then they consider it a distinguishing flavor. How tightly can that be enforced? I don't know. This again, it falls back into that weird gray area of the black market aspect. But, you know, we recall Dr. Farsalinos and the study he did when he surveyed all the vapors, and the fact that 1% of people continually vape tobacco flavor.
1%
That's not a good statistic. You know?
No.
It's not a good statistic. Sure, a handful of them get... go ahead, tinfoil it up.
We're on the Hippie channel, right? Poonsauce and the Hippie. So, here's this. Now, this is just total, like, Stan's tinfoil hat. Like, what if this would make a good conspiracy movie? What if Whitmer is on track or wants to be the first female president, and this is like her thing to get there? I was on the front lines of the battle of e-cigarettes and got flavors banned, and they took my verbiage and put it into the federal thing, and here's a round of applause and pats on the back, and she's a trooper, and she's definitely a candidate for president. Like, that's the kind of bullshit that this stuff makes me think about, because it's so outlandish and so crazy.
I mean,
but in the situation that we're in, I would not be surprised if that's the case.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that, because let's be honest, right? Game of politics is like chess. Years and years ago, I had the great fortune of befriending a woman. She was my boss at the time. She left a job making stupid money. I mean, stupid figures, high six figures, as a political lobbyist for, I cannot remember what industry she was in. The thing that she told me that always stuck with me is that she had to get out, and she chose to go manage a gas station and go work that kind of menial job versus being this 6-figure paid lobbyist, because she had to carry around 3 notebooks worth of bullshit lies that she was sharing with different people in different groups in order to keep all the nonsense that she was spewing straight. And you know, that was one of the things that she always pointed out to me. If you want to change the system, the first thing you got to do is get rid of lobbyists, because lobbyists have an ability to really shape a lot of things, and it gets done in a way that the general public has no idea about. I think a lot of people have seen an episode of, you know, one of your favorite shows. I know there's a Simpsons episode specifically that I can reference where a character becomes some sort of lobbyist. Matter of fact, Peter Griffin in Family Guy too had the same idea. But yeah, they become a lobbyist, and one of the goals is, you know, you go out drinking with these politicians, and you try to drink them under the table, and you get them to agree to these things and all this shit, and you make these shady deals while you're at a bar room. A lot of that is not hyperbole. That is not an exaggeration. That is what a lot of the lobbying is. It's, you know, we want to paint this pretty picture that lobbying is some guy in a suit and tie standing in front of Congress saying, well, you know, I represent the vapor industry.
Dude, where do you think the ideas for jokes come from? There's a percentage.
Right. Right. And that's the thing. Like, that's
base things on facts.
And that's what our world is built by.
Or perception, I should say.
Right. And so here we are. You know, we're in this situation where their lobbyists are a fuck ton more powerful than ours, and their connections are a fuck ton deeper than ours. And so, you know, industries that are being hurt have power to make influence. People can share data that skews towards their agenda very easily. And convince these people of power that, yeah, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. That's one of the things I try to remember is a lot of these people, you know, like I think about the anti organizations that we always are arguing with. These people believe in their heart of hearts the nonsense. You know what I mean? These are people who genuinely, in their heart of hearts, believe that the vaping is dangerous, that vaping is killing people, that what the news told them is legit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get that crap. I don't get somebody that can blindly follow. These people told me this. Do you know those people? No. Do you know their credentials? No. Do you know what lengths they went to actually get you that information? No. Then why the hell do you believe them?
Right.
Because
people have that mindset into where
yeah,
this somebody is important. They're wearing a suit and tie kind of thing. They have to know what they're talking about.
exactly.
Because my name is Kent Brockman, and I speak like this on the nightly news in front of you with my hair all slicked back and a microphone and papers that I stack like this. Like,
But I'm not reading everything off the teleprompter that's 4 feet in front of me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of times you can catch that shit going on, and you can call them out, and you just get ignored. You know, they don't even want to respond.
Coil Image is freaking out, man. Look, nobody knows anything. We know that they said, hi Lizzie. We know that they said they're going to ban flavors, and they're working on a final rule, and it will be probably in a week or two before anybody knows anything.
Yep.
So asking all these questions, those are the same questions we got, buddy.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, my understanding is we'll have 30 days for compliance once those final rules and regulations are released. And fuck all if we can tell you what to expect from there.
It looks like also from the announcement that with Sharpless himself said that there will still be options to have FDA approval for liquids and etc. So basically, it sounds like they're banning all flavors unless from now until they are approved by the FDA, which who knows if that's actually going to happen.
Like I was saying before, it's kind of like it's kind of convenient that the PMTA thing kind of came into place, and now for these companies to want to stay out there and stay in business, they have to spend an immense amount of money to get that to happen. It's kind of weird how those two coexist with each other, to where it's like, okay, we got the PMTAs out, they're set, now let's do something to where it's going to affect everybody, to where they're going to have to file and spend all this money. And it's like putting two and two together and seeing how these correlate with each other.
If you watch the actual address, I call it an address, I don't know, freaking Donald Trump sitting on a couch in the living room, and Ned Sharpless is sitting next to him, and his wife, and that other dude from the FDA. I don't remember who they are, but I know Ned Sharpless and Donald Trump are sitting there, and basically Donald Trump is saying, well, we've got to do something about this vapor industry. I know a lot of companies have gotten really rich and it's big booming, and vapor industry has grown really fast and it's brand new, and I'm all for business, you guys know that, but we need to do something about the kids. Like, we need to think about our children's future. And then it goes to Ned Sharpless basically saying that they're going to ban flavors, and it'll take a couple weeks, and then there'll be 30 days. That's really all you get. There's not a whole lot of information.
And we all fully agree that anybody that's underage doesn't need these products.
No. If you haven't smoked a day in your life, you don't need this product.
Correct. But see, that shouldn't fall on the government to come in and say, you shouldn't have this. That falls on, number one, the parent, and number two, the shop where they got it from, or their buddy where they got it from. Those are the people that need to be held accountable. The kid, the parent, whoever gave it to them. And if it's the parent, that's even worse.
The thing also is that kids, like, you're not saving anybody. Like, by taking it off the market, kids are going to do what they're going to do. This stuff. I think they think that just because, from the mere fact of the existence of the industry, we're going to have to keep the industry alive, so we're going to have to keep people addicted. That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
You've got cigarettes that are never going away. You're not going to get rid of them because you can't. You can't afford them.
Yeah.
So this is merely going to survive by the fact that people that are going to be addicted by you, not us, for us to try to help. That's the whole basis of this industry. It's trying to help the health crisis that you created, that you screwed up. I'm looking right in the camera, because if you are any part of that, then you need to understand this is not us. This is you. And Anthony Ramella says the science is getting too close to coming out, so this is their last chance to get rid of us. Anthony, the science is out there. Like, there's no too close about it. It's the fact that it's ignored, blatantly ignored.
Okay, so I just want to help clarify for those who just jumped in with us, because I've actually got the Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar's Twitter pulled up, so I can actually read to you guys a couple of pieces of what he has to say. He said on Twitter 9 hours ago, when this had just happened, I just announced to POTUS and FDA Commissioner that we will be finalizing policies that will clear flavored e-cigarettes from the market. New provisional data show that youth use continues to rise rapidly, and we will not stand idly by. While the current plan is to not include tobacco-flavored e-cigarettes, if data shows kids migrating to tobacco-flavored products, we will do what's necessary to tackle continued youth use of these products. And then he shares the actual official Health and Human Services release, where much of that is quoted, as well as some other, nonsense data that we've all been, trying to fight for a while. So
yeah, the data shows that things are increasing, but yes, they're going to show that they're increasing because smoking is going down. So yes, vaping is going to be increasing because smoking is going down, and because of the fact that your numbers are smaller and smaller from people that have completely quit smoking, it's going to look like a larger number overall.
Yeah, youth use of cigarettes, according to the Health and Human Services own data for the year of 2019, which I don't know how you're going to give me this data for this year when the year's not even over, but we'll get, it's a whole nother issue altogether. They're saying is 5.8%.
Don't give me a percentage without giving me an overall number.
Right. And then they're saying 27.5% are vaping now this year. But as Stan points out, we're getting a percentage with no definitive understanding of that data.
27% of 100 people and 27% of 2 million people is a completely different number. Like a hugely different number. And I'm not saying it's 100 people, but you get what I'm saying. And already set us up for failure with that statement, because use of tobacco flavored cigarettes is going to go up because it's going to be the only damn thing on the market. So the number's going to go up. The percentage is going to be based on what? Who the hell knows? You're going to give us a freaking bogus ass crazy percentage. Like, currently it's 1%. Currently it's 1% of vapors use tobacco flavored e-cigarettes. Yes, 1%. Next year, it's going to be 17%. Oh, shit, Sherlock, it's the only damn thing on the market. What else are the other freaking 83% vaping? Everybody's vaping tobacco.
Yeah.
So they're they're totally for if this happens to where, okay, they ban flavors and then the kids start going to tobacco liquids to get their buzz. They just straight out said it. We'll take the actions to get rid of that too. So they're willing to take, because they're going off this crutch of we're trying to save the children. Like it's their responsibility to take care of other people's kids.
And that's the thing too, is, oh, we need to jump into action because of this illness, this lung illness that's happening. People have been vaping since 2010, maybe before. And you all of a sudden, I've said this on the stew, you all of a sudden are having an issue with lung illness in never smokers or people that have just recently started vaping. That's a hell of a coincidence. That's a hell of a coincidence. I know a freaking vapor that's a never smoker that's been vaping before me. He got me into vaping to quit smoking. He's never smoked in his life. That's a hell of a coincidence. Why are people not asking these questions? Like, why is Donald Trump not asking these questions?
Well,
like, for somebody who's supposedly an idiot when it comes to social stuff, but an absolute smart guy when it comes to business and everything, why are you not asking these questions about the details behind the business?
Well, where's his money coming from the vapor industry? It's not. So he's not interested.
He doesn't get money from, I don't think he's really worried about any money that's coming around politically, honestly.
He's got enough.
That's the thing, is that he's got all the property. And so, are we holding vape conventions at Trump Plaza hotels? No. Are vape manufacturers having meetings at Trump Plaza hotels? No. It's not like we're affecting his wallet that if we disappear, he's going to miss us. You know what I mean? And so it doesn't matter to him. Anthony Ramallah just said it. Why is Trump believing fake news? And it's funny he says that. When I tweeted him, because naturally, like everybody else, I'm on Twitter now, and I'm fighting with, every person on Twitter that doesn't, stand on my side now. I asked the same thing. I said, why did you fall for #fake news?
I posted the same. I wrote the same thing to him today, and I think Grim Green did. Like I think he got more of that crap than. You know what? Honestly, I think everybody should tweet to Donald Trump about believing fake news, because
isn't he so highly against fake news with Fox and all that?
That's exactly why. I think that's how you get to him. That's how you get to him. You make him think that he's being duped.
Yep, you just got tricked by fake news.
And that's maybe the one thing that triggers him. He's like, I don't give a shit about vaping, but what did you lie to me about?
Oh my God, you made me look like an idiot. That's it. You're all fired.
Oh my God.
This is a man who was ready to fire the leader of like the national weather fucking people, the NOAA. He was ready to fire them because he misunderstood a map. Like, yeah, we could get him to fire everybody. Like, you made me believe fake news. But is it going to come to that? I don't think so. I mean, you know, again, I don't know that our numbers are enough for him to actually take notice.
Shane, I don't think I'm totally speaking out of my ass here. This is just the way, like, just me thinking. And if I'm wrong, prove it. Or if I'm wrong, tell me. But I don't think the lawsuit against the FDA has any, especially if it's done as a presidential order or whatever, executive order or whatever it is.
Yeah. I just heard it mentioned that may throw a wrench in the timing of when the ban can become effective.
I'm not
sure if they're yeah, and that's what I said. I'm not 100% sure. I just know it's been mentioned that could present an issue because of it's an ongoing lawsuit about the same thing, and they're making another ruling, in the same timing.
Well, I honestly don't think that Congress is going to overturn the judge's rule.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to go back and sue, it's like, why is everything we've been doing reactionary? That's
why is it not proactive instead of reactive?
There have been though. There have been some that have been proactive.
We have been doing proactive, not government or officials or everything they're doing is reactive. Oh, we've got this issue, let's take it away, or we've got this issue, let's get rid of this.
Because I see Anthony Ramala asked the question: do you think any liquid companies are ready to hand in a PMTA?
I'm sure one or two have, but I doubt many.
I can say this. I can say this much. Having spoke to a couple of liquid makers I know, they have been in compliance with the FDA timeline for PMTAs for liquids this entire time. They, as they put it to me or to the public, they've been moving forward this whole time. So as the PMTAs come to fruition, they are ready to submit and do what they have to do. Now the question is, do they have enough to pass it? And that nobody knows.
Aren't they working under the substantial equivalent situation where a bunch of companies are getting together to not every company submit, but, just a general, like everybody's getting together to submit like one type of sample that can be used as a substantial equivalent across many
I don't
different
know if that would be allowed though.
Yeah, well, there is the substantial equivalency thing, but I don't know if that was a part of this person's plan or not. I just know that there are a lot of companies where, I've stayed in touch with some of their manufacturers that have been following that timeline and have been getting all the ducks in a row and are mostly ready as we speak. But again, the question is, do they have enough? Is there enough in what the package includes? Because if you can put down, even collectively, for the equivalency aspect, the money that's needed, and they go through and they decide, well, there isn't quite enough data in this piece, fail.
Yeah.
Well, you still got to come up with that money if you want to keep your damn company alive to try again.
Yeah.
It's like, are they going to make you spend money each time you file? Like you say.
That's my understanding. If like that is my understanding.
That's, dude. Don't count on the government to freaking let you go.
Right.
You don't have to pay it. Try and please. Right.
Oh, you failed once, but it's cool. At least you paid. Like, yeah. It's an uphill battle. we won't see vaping completely disappear. That's a physical impossibility because there are other countries that embrace it enough that the technology, some of the companies, they're going to survive in other markets that just won't be here in the United States market. I think because I'd love to try to, at least end this on a slightly positive note. What do you guys think might be one of the craziest things that might change from the end of this? If we were to, let's just say we lose, vaping access for a solid year and we come back, because we all know how fast technology moves in this industry. What do you think we might walk back into when we have access again that maybe wasn't here now or is beginning to develop now?
I always thought that the ultrasonic non-heat element technology might do something in the future. Somebody who knows what they're doing actually gets a hold of it. You know that one mod that came out with the ultrasonic? I always thought that would be really cool if that actually became a thing.
Yeah, use Sonosig.
Yes. But it's my understanding that that's actually from a big tobacco company in China, and that's my understanding. But I always thought that technology would be real interesting. Unfortunately, I think that the IQOS stuff is going to be a thing. I hate to say it, but I think it's going to be a thing.
I think
myself,
so too.
I think we're going to see a sort of because we've been seeing it now, a resurgence in an older technology style. I think, even Stan's been embracing it, and with an MTL mech tube. I think that MTL tanks are going to become really more prevalent, because my understanding is that in a lot of other countries, MTL is a preferred way of vaping. And so when you lose the large market of the United States and cloud chuckers that are there, you're not going to produce as much of that, big cloud chasey kind of hardware when that's not what people are buying. In which case, I think we're going to see a really huge advancement in MTL, which kind of excites me now that I've started to stumble into it, because, as good as some of the flavor is on some of these MTL tanks now, they're going to have some crazy understanding of how to amplify that flavor in another year, that when we all get a chance to see it again, we're going to be like, oh my God, vaping's never tasted so good.
The Pinoy market is really the only market that I know of that's like huge cloud, huge power, besides some of the American market.
Yeah. From what I understood, the U.S. accounts for 38% of vaping from the China market. So I'm not sure. I can't remember where I read that, but it was talking about whenever it might have been on like Vape 360 or something like that, but it was a while back.
Interesting.
Yeah. 38, they're going, if everything goes away, which I don't know if it'll ever completely go away, but they would end up losing, over 30% of their business. And that, that would end up hurting them. It wouldn't just close shops here. It might even shut people down in China. And I'm sure that most of those companies, they do 100 different things out of the same plant. So it probably wouldn't hurt them as much as we think. But I think it would, in my opinion, it would make a dent.
Definitely. Well, guys, it's been a rough week. Anthony O'Malley's definitely sum it up. It's been a sad day for vaping. It's been a sad little couple of weeks for vaping. We try to look at this. So,
you think about 5 gallons of Paramon?
I will tell you some information about that after we are no longer live. But I have a funny feeling I could help you arrange that for sure. Pretty sure he could make 5 gallons happen.
I wonder if they can just change it to where it says Sad Boy Tobacco Cookie.
Nope, because Cookie would be a character. Believer.
Shamrock Tobacco.
Yeah, Shamrock TC.
Yeah, it's just an Irish blend of tobacco.
Yeah.
Straight from the Emerald Isle.
Let's just, you know what? Are they actually going to have people taste these things? We should just tell them it's all tobacco.
Yeah.
This tobacco is red tobacco. This tobacco is green tobacco.
Yeah.
This tobacco is fuchsia.
We call this one BDE tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what that means, go ahead and hit that Urban Dictionary for what B stands for. Shout out to Wambo. I miss you, boo-boo.
Well, guys.
I know I miss Wambo.
Man.
It's been...
Guys, thank you for everybody for hanging with us. We've run 2 hours long tonight. This is the longest What's in the News we've ever done.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging with us.
All right, I came on so somber, man.
No, it's... Getting stuff out helps, man. It does. I'll tell you, just being able to talk about it and kind of share a little bit. It's so...
Yeah.
Guys.
Thank y'all for letting me on.
No problem, Shane.
You're always welcome, Shane. You too, Stan.
Thank you.
Stan sometimes. It depends how he's acting.
If I was actually sitting next to Poonsauce, I'd give him a little sack tap right now.
Stay away from me. Well, on that note, guys, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in for this extended version of What's in the News. I'd like to thank our two guests that decided to come on and share their thoughts a little bit, kind of vent a little bit, and kind of create some pretty good conversation, I would think. That we had some really good talks, and these are what these kind of moments are really about, because we kind of learn what's going on and kind of take our own aspects of it, and we learn some new things, and we might get angry, we might get upset, but it's not an excuse to give up the fight. The fight is far from over. We may think it's over, but as long as there's people sharing their voice, sharing their thoughts, and fighting back, this fight will never be over.
The vape will rise again. Maybe that's not the right euphemism.
Fight the power.
Whoa.
Yeah, fight the power.
So again, guys, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. I'd like to thank our guests.
Love you too, Anthony.
And we will see you all next week for, hopefully, we won't be talking about the end of vaping. But we're probably going to have something new to share that they've come out with within the next week. So stay tuned for that. Things are going to get harder before they get easier, guys. So just got to mentally prepare yourselves and just get ready for a long fight ahead of us. It's not anywhere near close to being over yet. So, again, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you all next week. Gotta get to beep.
Cheers. Bye. Vapor things.